how his assessment of the economy stacks up against the data, and when bonus checks could reach U.S. troops.
Growing concern in Charlotte over the possibility of a second Border Patrol operation.
It's not a surprise to us, but it is still alarming.
How advocates are preparing as the sheriff says federal agents are likely to be back.
And we all know the holidays can cause some unwanted stress.
The best way experts say to deal with those holiday blues. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
All right, guys, let's take a look at your traffic out there. We are seeing the roadways clear on I-77 South, where we did have an accident moments ago. It has since cleared, moving around 20 miles per hour. We do still have that accident on Toddville Road. It is a crash at Dogwood Circle. It's been there for the last couple hours. Looks like law enforcement is still working to clear this scene there. Again, just slow moving out there though on I-85 northbound towards McAdenville, moving around 16 miles per hour. On I-77 south, moving around 37 miles per hour. Chris, how's our forecast looking?
Well, today is the only significant rain chance that we have. Other than that, we are looking at more sunshine return, still breezy for your Friday. First day of winter, Sunday for the Panthers game, lower to the mid-60s. We have a little bit of a downturn, but look at this. Christmas Eve, 68. Christmas Day, 66. The day after, start of Kwanzaa, talking about Boxing Day. I have highs in the lower 70s. That's right. So either side of 70, either side of Christmas. That's incredible.
Yes, yes, and yes.
The people of Charlotte breathing a sigh of relief now that they have their Boxing Day forecast. Thank goodness. All right, folks, we want to know if you're traveling for the holiday. Are you kind of a planner when it comes to traveling, or are you kind of more go with the flow, especially on Boxing Day?
I was going to say, you got to play your Boxing Day.
You've got a plan.
It's 704-329-3600. We'll check back with see how folks are replying and responding over on WCNC Plus. Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We start with a check on your forecast on this Thursday. You will need to bring the umbrella with you today because we have the chance for rain.
Yeah, and that chance for rain is going to be all day long. We're already seeing some light rain showers work their way in, but more so during the afternoon and evening. So those who bring the umbrella with them might be waiting a little bit. Just depends where you are. Right now, we are at 47 degrees to start the 7 o'clock hour here on WCNC Plus. Thanks as always for joining us. 35 degrees, though, was the temperature at this point yesterday. So we are talking about a 12-degree difference for Charlotte, 13 degrees warmer in Gastonia, 16-degree difference and warmer for you around Concord. The only cool spot is the mountains. The mountains, you are astronomically warmer than where you are right now. And also, you are even warmer than the Charlotte area at this point. So things were kind of topsy-turvy backwards yesterday. Here's what the sky looks like over in Lowellsville and what we're pretty much going to expect for most of the day. An overcast sky. There might be a hope for a brief break, but all in all, expect a cloudy day with on and off rain. Because why? We have all this activity to the southwest of us working its way closer to home. It's this first little branch of rain that's first going to greet us. That's associated with this quasi-stationary front, meaning this front that's kind of moving around. And then eventually a cold front's going to squeeze the rest of the rain in. That's why I'm anticipating more rain for the afternoon and the evening and the overnight compared to what we have this morning. But you're still going to have some rain chances, so let's get right to that. For our future cast, let me get my big dome out of the way. You don't need me blocking the time. You're seeing a few of those on and off rain showers really over the next couple of hours, but more so it fills in the gaps west of I-77 for the duration of the morning, really from about 9 to noon. At that point, I'm not saying you're not going to see rain here in Charlotte. I think it's going to almost have that feel like it's going to rain. It feels like it's going to rain, but you could be nipped by a passing shower or two. So Charlotte, I think really for the course of this morning, dealing with some on and off light rain showers, outside chance for a quick little downpour. Once you get to about 1 to 4 o'clock, that's where we start to transition from a scattered environment west of I-77 to most of the area dealing with this rain. Becoming widespread means once it starts raining by at least the middle of the afternoon, it could rain for several hours or at least for most of the evening after that. So if you have any evening plans, what's really interesting is we actually drift in some warmer air, so we could hit our high temperature for the day right around midnight, and that's going to keep a nice warmer low for tomorrow. So we're starting off around 55 in Charlotte, but 36 in Boone. That's the power of that cold front, and that cold front is eventually going to cool us down. So once the rain is done around sunrise tomorrow, we will have a slight chance for a little changeover to a little bit of snow for the mountains. Thereafter, sunshine's with us for a breezy day on Friday. Looks to be picture perfect with starting freezing on Saturday. Our first day of winter forecast, Sunday for the Panthers game, lower to the mid-60s before we see another downturn in our temperatures, another freezing start on Monday. But check it out. There's a lot going on our 10-day forecast, I understand, with the holidays and some sporting matches that are going on. But Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, mid to the upper 60s, with the day after, that's the 26th, Kwanzaa, and I've also claimed you always see on the calendar, Boxing Day. Lower 70s on Friday, and then we're still rocking the upper 60s come Saturday, the 27th. So what a forecast. Boy, are we warming up. That's the warmest air of December, just in time for the Christmas holiday. Walker, we were joking around that it's this time of the year that people would have been okay to get cold, but we've been reverse of that.
Yeah, literally. I was so sad to see the news that we are going to be warm on Christmas Day, but thankfully we know that Boxing Day forecast that you gave us. As we take a look out there, road conditions moving smoothly out there. We're seeing mostly green on the maps against trying to see that rain trying to move into the area, but moving smooth out there. Currently, right now, if you're on I-77 northbound coming into the city, we are moving at right around 22 miles an hour, which is what you typically expect for this area during rush hour. Now, we do have an accident that is blocking roads on North Sharon Amity. This is right near East Independence Boulevard. So again, they're working to clear the scene. So just try to avoid this area as it is blocking some roadways. Again, we saw that accident on Toddville Road. It's a crash at Dogwood Circle. Not seeing any delays from this accident though. And again, taking a look at some other pressure points in the area, we're typically seeing some congestion moving around 36 miles per hour on I-85 northbound.
We continue to follow breaking news in East Charlotte this morning. More than 24 people impacted by a two-alarm fire at an apartment complex. These are live pictures right now from the scene there on Farm Pond Lane. That's just off Albemarle Road. Charlotte Fire tells us 60 firefighters were able to control the fire in about 40 minutes. In all, 12 units were affected. No injuries reported. Right now, the Red Cross is working with those families that are now facing the holidays without a home. Still no word on what started that fire. Today, Mecklenburg County's newly formed Metropolitan Public Transportation Authority will meet for the first time. The 27-member board will pick which transit projects Charlotte should prioritize over the next 30 years. Later this morning, in just about an hour, right here on WCNC Plus, we're going to hear from one of those board members, Cameron Pruitt. He's going to join us live to talk about his expectations for the future of transit here in the Charlotte area. Speaking of travel, if you are flying for the holidays, Charlotte Douglas is gearing up for the rush. Over the next 2 weeks, the airport expects about 2.7 million passengers. The busiest travel days are going to be tomorrow, the 19th, and then again on December 26th through the 28th. The airport's urging you to arrive early, reserve parking ahead of time, and watch for extra staff. They'll be in yellow vests ready to help you when you need them. And if it felt like your holiday flights were more expensive than normal, you're not imagining it. The new report shows passengers at Charlotte Douglas pay the highest nonstop domestic fares in the entire country.
Today, workers are rallying at the airport, calling on the city to be more transparent as it negotiates a new lease with American Airlines, which controls nearly all passenger traffic at Charlotte Douglas. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning at the airport, sharing what is inside this report. I know a lot of people interested in this, especially after forking over that money for those flights. Destiny.
Absolutely. That's why airport workers and community advocates are rallying here this afternoon. They say it's because of this new report they believe explains why so many passengers may feel like flying out of Charlotte costs more. Now, this new report says that Charlotte Douglas has had the most expensive nonstop domestic fares in the country over the past decade, with passengers paying about 33% more on average than at other major airports. That translates to about $120 more per round-trip ticket, adding up to more than $5.5 billion in extra costs, including $3 billion paid by Charlotte area travelers. Now, workers blame a lack of airline competition at CLT and say despite record traffic and profits, many airport workers are still not seeing those gains, according to a worker protection proposal that was blocked at City Council earlier this year.
For workers who are pushing disabled passengers often are not given sufficient paid time off for sick leave. How can you sanitize a plane while you yourself are sick?
And just after 12 o'clock today, that is when airport workers are going to be here handing out flyers to holiday travelers, basically to spread awareness, but also to call on the city for more transparency as they negotiate this long-term lease with American Airlines. I'll send back to you guys live here from Charlotte Douglas.
So, Destiny, then what is it that they specifically are asking for from the city?
Yeah, in terms of transparency, they're basically asking for the city to make it known exactly where these profits are going, the airport profits, how much of it is going to these airlines. And they're also asking for a 90-day public review of the lease once it's agreed upon. According to this report, currently the city allows airlines to keep 40% of the remaining revenues from passengers spending money at concessions, at kiosks, as well as on parking. So they want this to be transparent. They want that public review period, and they want this to be something that benefits and is of real value to passengers, workers, and the community as a whole.
And listen, even if you don't fly, this impacts you because this airport is an economic engine for this region, whether it's the airport itself or American Airlines. It impacts all of us, whether you realize it or not.
Oh, for sure. And so the number of people who work at the airport.
Exactly.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much for that.
7:09 right now on the dot here on WCNC Plus. President Trump addressing the nation last night, touting his administration's accomplishments, especially when it comes to the economy. But with voter frustrations over the rising cost of living, will his message really resonate? 7-Eleven right now on WCNC Plus, and top Senate Democrats have unveiled a new initiative they say will lower costs for Americans next year. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, along with the Senate Democratic Caucus, previewed a new proposal to help fight the high cost of living. Schumer also reiterated that January 1st is a hard deadline for Affordable Care Act subsidies.
We're focusing on the 5 major areas that is making life so much harder for American families: healthcare, energy, housing, groceries, and tariffs. Look, once January 1st occurs, as I've said over and over again, the toothpaste is out of the tube. January 1st, it expires. Once that happens, millions will be without health care. There'll be no ACA credits. Tens of millions more will have changed their policies that are much worse for them: higher deductibles, higher copays. A lot of people are going to have to change their doctors, you know.
Democrats also stated that they're willing to work with Republicans on lowering costs, and Americans are looking for results, not finger pointing.
President Trump spoke to the nation last night, touting his administration's accomplishments, particularly on the economy, amid growing voter frustrations over the cost of living. NBC's Alice Barr has details from Washington on how the president made his case.
When I took office,
President Trump turning to a primetime address to talk up his year one accomplishments at a time when polls show a majority of Americans let down by the state of the economy and the cost of living.
I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast.
The president pinning the blame for persistently high prices on former President Biden, adamant that his policies are working and will bring more relief in the new year.
I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it.
President Trump touted revenue from his global tariffs and announced he's directing some of it toward warrior dividend holiday bonuses for military service members.
In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776.
Though it's Congress's job to decide how tariff revenues are spent, and as lawmakers struggle to reach agreement on bringing down health care costs, with Obamacare subsidies now set to expire in 2 weeks, sending premiums soaring, President Trump again pushed to send money directly to Americans' health savings accounts.
The money should go to the people.
The president also highlighting his immigration crackdown.
And we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country.
And saying his administration's targeting of alleged drug boats in the Caribbean has driven down dangerous drugs entering the U.S. He did not mention the potential for military conflict with Venezuela, amid mounting calls for transparency and questions from lawmakers in both parties about the campaign's ultimate goals. On that health care fight, 4 Republicans joined Democrats in signing a petition to force a vote on extending Affordable Care Act tax credits for 3 years, though the vote is not expected to happen until next month after the premium increases have already taken hold. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The American Academy of Pediatrics losing millions in federal grant funding. Health officials say the grants don't match the Trump administration's priorities. The group represents 67,000 pediatricians nationwide. Leaders say the cuts will hit programs focused on infant death prevention, rural health care, and autism detection. The Academy says it's now considering all options, including possible legal action.
A federal judge has temporarily blocked federal immigration agents from enforcing new limits on congressional oversight visits. Wednesday's ruling pauses the policy requiring lawmakers to give 7 days notice before visiting some detention facilities. ICE and DHS say the rules are needed for safety and security, but the judge said the policy goes beyond the Department of Homeland Security's authority and violates federal law. The government is expected to appeal.
Continuing our coverage right now of Operation Charlotte's Web, this morning community advocates are voicing concerns Border Patrol will resume operations here.
Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden told us on our live Impact News right here on WCNC Plus that federal agents are likely to be back. Latino community advocates are preparing for what could come next, saying they are worried about how the presence of federal agents could impact families.
The biggest concern is, we will continue to see the targeting of people based on racial profiling, families being torn apart, and distrust that will further erode between community and enforcement agencies.
The Carolina Migrant Network tells us if federal operations return, that it'll again mobilize hotlines, community networks, and resources. Earlier this morning over on WCNC Charlotte, you may remember we asked you what type of traveler you are. Stay tuned. We're going to have those results coming up next.
Hello, welcome back everyone. So over the next 36 hours, here's what's going down. We have this quasi-stationary front. This front's kind of doing one of these, wiggling around, a little shimmy back and forth. And that's going to allow and trap all that moisture right here to come in out of the southwest. That's going to be feeding bands of rain on and off throughout the day, but more so heading in the afternoon. Notice the time, boop, right here around 4 p.m. And then once we get this cold front to push in a little bit closer, that's going to keep the most widespread rain really late afternoon heading through the evening. So we have chance of rain all day long. It's just more so later on today that we're going to see that activity. Over the next 48 hours, check out this temperature trend. We're actually hitting our warmest part of the day later on this evening. That's where temperatures are approaching the upper 50s. Meanwhile, we have the upper 50s to begin tomorrow, so that likely is going to be our high temperature, right around 60 degrees. We tumble things down a little bit during the morning, allowing for sunshine to roll in, winds to pick up. We're back to the mid 50s before we see our big cool down going through your Friday evening. So if you have any Friday evening plans, just letting you know, it gets significantly colder heading towards midnight and eventually back down around freezing come Saturday morning. Our wind alerts officially start at 7 a.m. tomorrow. Now, there's still a question, is this going to be a wind advisory or a high wind warning for Watauga and Nash County? Right now, looking at a chance for gusts up to about 60 miles per hour, so right on the cusp. But regardless, the mountains are going to be windy starting tomorrow morning. Winds sustained at 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusts as high as 60. For this weekend, winds start to simmer down a little bit. Temperatures in the upper 50s with sunshine for your Saturday. More clouds filtering in on Sunday, but still a decent day with high temperatures in the lower to the mid 60s. So, Panthers fans, this is going to be a good one. You get 2 shots at the Bucks, but I think it's a good idea that maybe we win the first one at home. Temperature is going to be right around 60 degrees. No real feels like, because once you get above 50 degrees, it's really not too much of a wind chill, especially around 60 degrees. It's not really too much of a factor. But we're dealing with overall a partly cloudy day. Temperatures reaching the lower to the mid 60s through the game. By the final whistle, hopefully we're celebrating a W, and the top of the division, well, we have temperatures in the upper 50s at that point, but much warmer after that. Check it out real quick. I'm going to end with this. Carolina Christmas, mid to the upper 60s, even warmer for the day after Christmas. All right, there's your full forecast. Let's get right over to traffic with our friend Akara Lawson.
Good morning, Chris. Well, we have a couple accidents out there that we want to let you know about. We're going to first start off with this image that was taken about 30 minutes ago at Sharon Amity Road at Independence Boulevard. This is just to give you a view of what we're seeing. All lanes currently being impacted by that. And as we translate over to the map, you can see this is exactly where that accident's taking place. Only some minor backups along that roadway as well. So we do have a couple other accidents out there also. The US 74 Roosevelt Boulevard southbound, there's a crash at Rocky River Road. We are seeing some significant delays out in Dallas where we have a crash on NC 279. This is slowing people down heading into the town of Dallas. Again, moving it right around 10 miles an hour. So just be mindful of avoiding that area. Now, we also have been talking about this one accident on Toddville Road, the crash at Dogwood Circle, still working to clear that up. Now, as for our major thoroughfares, I-77 southbound, shockingly moving pretty well out there, moving around 37 miles per hour, but we have started to see some more green over the last couple of minutes. So starting to see some improvements out there. Big picture though, as you can see, as Chris has mentioned multiple times, we have that possibility of some rain. So those slick roads, being mindful, especially as you're headed home this evening, that we're going to see some potential for some slick roads out there. Now your drive times, Matthews to Charlotte, it will take you 22 minutes going 35 miles an hour. From Waxhaw to Charlotte, 39 minutes moving at 29 miles per hour. Ben, Lisa.
All right, Walker, thanks so much. Well, with tomorrow being one of the busiest travel days, do you know what kind of traveler you are?
A new research study from Talker says most of us fit into one of about 5 different vacation types. And you probably recognize yourself in one or several of these. First off, we got the mastermind who plans it all. Think type A. Thrill seekers who chase adventure. Vacation scouts ready for anything. A floater who just sort of goes with the flow, easy going, easy breezy. And the connoisseur who likes to follow the food. It also found that no matter which one of these you are, typically on day one, people want to explore. And if the trip's fun, if you're doing the vacation the right way, most want to stay a bit longer.
Yes.
So we want to know what we were, and so we took this quiz. And we found out a little bit about ourselves and each other.
Yes, we did.
Take a look. Turns out, Lisa and I, masterminds.
I don't think that's a surprise.
I was not shocked at all.
Right?
This all fits into our personality types, I think.
And this one was a shocker. I'm a floater, you know, like, because I seem like such a, you know, tight knits, you know. You're always planning. And we joked, the only thing I plan is pretty much the forecast. After that, it's just chaos.
There you go.
Vacay Scout, I mean, that seems like me. I'm the kind of person, so it's actually funny when they mentioned that some people will extend their trips. I have been notorious to
do that.
Extend my trip.
Last minute.
It's tempting.
The day of. I mean, if I'm only paying $13 more to extend my flight,
Yes.
2 days,
You're doing it.
I'm doing it.
It's always tempting, especially if you still have a couple days left on, like off, and you're like, well,
Right.
I could.
Why
one more
not?
day.
I
Push it.
can.
That's right. That's right. All right, live pictures right now over Uptown, 47 degrees as you step out the door. By far, I think probably the warmest. We have results. Do we have results? We can do results.
Yeah, if we have them,
I was just looking at the preview monitor, and we had the.
Let's do results.
Let's do results.
Shall we?
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Are you planning? This is what everyone said. Wow. Equal.
50-50. Wow.
That's a shock.
All right, where my floaters at? That's what I'm talking about.
Wow. Very,
Guess I'm just not represented.
very equitable.
Well, we made it easier for everybody at
Oh,
home
okay, good.
to not have to take the whole poll.
Plan-
That was a
flow.
lengthy poll at 3 in the morning.
Huh. Okay.
All right. Equal opportunity. Our viewers. There they are.
I feel less
who to
alone. I
travel with.
didn't know there was so many out there. I see you.
Now we're going to take some more pictures of Uptown Charlotte. 47 degrees out there. That feels great, actually. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone. So we have some rain that's sneaking in already. It's already overcast on the warmer side, though, so at least we have that. But rain first starts west of I-77. On and off showers will be possible throughout the Charlotte area today, but more so mid to late afternoon as we really start to fill in the gaps. High temperatures today reaching the mid 50s or so for the afternoon, only the 40s up in the mountains. But what's interesting is our temperatures for the afternoon are almost identical to what we have in the evening because of that cloud cover, we're flatlining, and eventually we'll get that rain out of here by your Friday. Winds will pick up, sunny skies for your Friday, but much colder by the end of the day. Decent weekend ahead. We have the 60s for the warmest day so far this month on Sunday, and then look at that, near 70 for Christmas Eve. All right, we got Walker Lawson with us here for the morning commute.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's take a look out there. We are still monitoring an accident out there on Sharon Amity Road at Independence Boulevard. Again, just causing some minor delays in that area. We also have another accident on US 74. This is at Roosevelt Boulevard. The crash is at Rocky River Road. Now, we are seeing some major delays out in the town of Dallas. As NC 279, we have a crash there right now, slowing drivers down in both ways, moving around 10 miles per hour.
Thank you for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We continue to follow breaking news out of East Charlotte this morning. More than 24 folks impacted by a two-alarm fire in an apartment complex. These are live pictures right now from the scene. They're on Farm Pond Lane. That's just off Albemarle Road. Here's the latest update from Charlotte Fire as we know it right now.
Upon arrival, Charlotte fire crews found fire through the roof of a 3-story apartment building. A second alarm was immediately struck. In total, approximately 60 firefighters on scene were able to bring the fire under control within 40 minutes. Occupants were self-evacuating, and Charlotte firefighters also removed numerous occupants from the building during the course of the fire. In total, there are 12 units that are affected, approximately 24 people. The Red Cross has been called to assist the displaced. The Fire Investigation Task Force is on scene determining the cause of the fire. It is still under investigation. No injuries have been reported to any civilians or Charlotte Fire personnel.
Again, fire investigators are still working to figure out a cause to that fire.
This morning, a former school resource officer charged with sexual exploitation of a minor is set to face a judge in Rowan County. 35-year-old Austin Moore previously worked as a school resource officer at North Rowan Elementary School. He is now charged with 4 counts of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. The Rowan County Sheriff's Office says a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children led investigators to search Moore's school office, his home, and electronic devices. Parents angered by the situation are now speaking out.
A man is behind bars this morning after a major drug bust in Cleveland County. Police say Felix Torrado is facing 2 counts of trafficking meth. During a traffic stop, officers say they discovered more than 130 pounds of drugs inside his vehicle. The sheriff posting this image on Facebook saying they'll continue to aggressively target drug traffickers. Torrado is now being held without bond in the county jail. Right now, detectives need your help in a car break-in and credit card fraud case. Take a look here at your screen. Investigators say these suspects you see right here broke into 2 unlocked cars Saturday at Watergate Townhomes in Fort Mill. The suspect stole credit cards, a laptop, and a book bag, then used the cards at a smoke shop on South Tryon Street in Charlotte. If you recognize these men, call the York County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Now to a health alert. North Carolina health officials confirming the first pediatric flu-related death of the season. Officials say a child in western North Carolina died from complications. Right now, doctors warning flu activity is rising as holiday travel begins, and they are urging families to get vaccinated and get care early on if those symptoms start.
While the holidays can bring on cheer, even stress, some are dealing with the holiday blues.
Megan Bragg shares the everyday impact speaking to friends and family can have on your mood.
The cloudy weather, the holiday stress, and being alone can get you down this time of year.
Because the holidays are generally supposed to be a time of togetherness, we can feel that lack of connection more during the holidays.
According to a study published in the National Library of Medicine, it shows people's moods may get worse and alcohol-related fatalities like alcohol poisoning increase during the holiday season. Dr. Dawn Potter, a psychologist with the Cleveland Clinic, says if you're feeling the holiday blues, reach out to a friend or family member you've been meaning to connect with. She says look for ways to socialize and keep with activities you enjoy. Dr. Potter says the winter blues are usually temporary, but it's important to recognize signs that it may be more than just that.
If you are feeling down, depressed, or hopeless more days than not, if you are feeling a loss of interest or pleasure in doing things more days than not.
Dr. Potter says if that's the case, reach out to a mental health professional for help. Megan Bragg, WCNC Charlotte.
Megan, great job as always, and thank you very much. Well, we are looking at an overcast beginning to the day. Dallas, this is what you're looking like pretty much for the entirety of today. And you're looking at some darker clouds as well. So a lot of these are just trying to saturate the atmosphere. So oftentimes when you have that first round of rain like this, it might be showing up here on the satellite imagery, but there's not really a lot of rain coming from this. So I think that anyone that lives here in Chester, in York County, down in Lancaster, and also including here around Union County, you may be starting to feel the atmosphere spit at you a little bit, maybe borderline a light rain shower, but notice what this rain has done. This is a real good testament. It moves in, it's fading out. So right now, it's trying to overcome some of that drier air, but then once it does, it's going to rain, and it'll continue to rain. Current temperatures right now, 37 degrees. We're actually on the rise. Typically, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. So right about this point, we're still at our morning low. Now, because of the cloud cover, that's not the case. We actually were a little bit colder a few hours ago. 36 degrees right around Morganton, and then 47 around Charlotte, and then 46 down in Lancaster. So you're heading out the door forecast. We are overall just dealing with a slight warm up to get to around 50 degrees, and then we pretty much stay there with on and off rain chances throughout the morning, throughout the afternoon, heading into the evening. High temperature right around 57, but this is a little confusing because I think truly we're going to hit our high temperature right around the midnight hour, because it's at that point for the final minute of today that we're going to have some of that warmer air that starts to surge in. So let's get right to our futurecast. Here's where I'm starting to see the rain overcome that drier air, and I think it's mainly going to be west of I-77, really anytime between about 8 o'clock to noon. At this point, I think you still have pulses of some light rain possible anywhere across the Charlotte area. This is a very difficult forecast that I could say, hey, if you're going to be dry from this time to this time, you're going to be wet from this time to this time. Because a lot of the rain that's showing up here on the futurecast hasn't even formed yet. So it's not like I'm just following a frontal boundary. We just have on and off showers that continue throughout the day. But I can tell you with confidence that if you live west of I-77, you have a better chance for rain compared to areas further off towards east around Albemarle for the first part of the day. And then it starts to shift. Notice what happens by the middle of the afternoon. We start to filter in more widespread rain. It transitions a little bit further off towards the east, and then that's going to be a better chance for that rain. So if you were planning on doing anything this evening, not telling you not to, just letting you know it's not going to be a good time to walk around because we could actually have some of the heaviest rain during this time frame. So say if you're going to McAdenville, well, windows up because you could have some very heavy rain showers on and off at this point overall. This rain will wind down by your Friday morning. Then it's at that point that I think that we're transitioning the front to push through. That could provide a little bit of snow up in the high country. And then for the rest of the day, we're sunny and we're going to be windy. That'll cool us down slightly for Saturday. We're back up to the 60s before we see another cool down on Monday, and then boom, one day stands out from the rest, right? Well, that red is representing not an alert day, but actually for Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve will be in the upper 60s, mid 60s for Christmas Day, and the day after, the lower 70s even. So yeah, the warmest air of December comes either side of Christmas. Enjoy it. Nice little warm up. Let's head over to Walker, who's joined us this morning here on WCNC Plus. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, well, we have a two-car accident actually on the outbound lanes just before Quail Hollow at Carmel Road and Crossgate Road. As you can see, that is that image that you have up there on the screen. Now, we are also watching some other accidents out there today. We do have some delays in Dallas as well, where we have moving around at 10 miles an hour. It looks like an accident is in the works of being cleared out of that area. We also have an accident on I-77. If you're headed northbound, this is going to be on Westinghouse Boulevard. Lanes are blocking Granite Street to I-77. This is exit 1A, 1AB, as well as 1B and 3. So seeing some delays out there again on the roadways. As mentioned, this accident on NC 279, they are working to clear that up in Dallas. Now, we do have another accident, Sharon Amity Road. This is causing some delays. This is right at Independence Boulevard out there. So just avoid the area as they're working to clear that. It is blocked all intersections in that area. Another accident we have out there is US 74. This is actually a crash at Rocky River Road. So again, just be mindful, go slow out there this morning if you're headed out on the roadways. Again, for our major pressure points, on I-77 headed northbound, we're moving at right around 36 miles an hour. Now, I-77 southbound from Huntersville, you're moving around 40 miles an hour and 23 miles an hour on I-85 northbound.
Americans may be uneasy about the economy, but that is not slowing down their holiday plans. Forecasts point to record travel numbers and some surprising shifts in what it'll cost.
The time is now 7:41. Surveys indicate Americans don't feel great about the overall economy right now, but it won't stop them from hitting the road for the holidays.
Multiple forecasts see record numbers of holiday travelers. Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at which costs are up and which ones are down.
Americans aren't letting economic uneasiness stop them from hitting the roads, the rails, and the airports for the holidays.
The uncertain economy is certainly not stopping them from holiday travel. This is yet another record season.
AAA forecasts 122.4 million U.S. travelers will take a trip at least 50 miles from home during the end-of-year holiday travel period. That's up 2.2% from 2024. About 90% of holiday travelers, AAA says, will go by car, with the national average for a gallon of gas sitting below $3 thanks to crude oil prices down 20% from this time last year. In the skies, industry trade group Airlines for America anticipates domestic airlines will carry 52.6 million passengers between December 19th and January 5th, up 1.5% over 2024. Expedia's Melanie Fish says passengers who want to travel with minimal crowds should avoid the highest volume days.
The busiest day for air travel is shaping up to be that Saturday right before Christmas. And then the second busiest day is shaping up to be the 26th, the day right after Christmas.
Airlines for America predicts U.S. airlines will add 72,000 seats each day of the holiday stretch. Sarah Kopit, editor-in-chief for travel news site Skift, says airlines have prepared for the rush as best they can, even as the nation grapples with an ongoing air traffic controller shortage.
The airports and the airlines, they are confident that this season they'll be able to handle anyone who wants to come out and fly.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
A warning from the Better Business Bureau this holiday season: be on high alert for scammers. The BBB says shoppers face an increased risk for scams this time of year. Officials report more than $12 billion in total fraud during the 2024 holiday season, driven by an increase in imposter scams, fake online deals, and delivery fraud.
We've seen a big spike in delivery scams. We classify those together because what people are doing is sending texts saying, I'm trying to deliver a package to your house and I can't get a hold of you. Will you respond with your address or confirm your social security number? They're trying to get any information they can out of the homeowner when there is no gift.
And again, the BBB says remember to never give your personal information, especially your credit card and social security info, unless you initiated the conversation. An annual survey by the National Retail Federation and Prosper Insights finds that a record 158.9 million people, almost 160 million people, are expected to shop the Saturday before Christmas. It's known as Super Saturday. That number is up more than 1 million from last year, and it beats the previous record in 2022. Nearly half of people plan to shop both in stores and online. That survey also finds that 70% of people plan to shop the week immediately after Christmas.
7:25 right now. The clock is ticking down to Christmas Day, and you're stressing about what to give that person that has everything. Well, fret no more. If you're looking for a last-minute holiday gift, cash always an option, easy for sure. And a new AP poll reveals about 60% of Americans deem cash as, quote, very acceptable. So no stress. Younger adults find it especially acceptable, with 2/3 of respondents under the age of 45 saying cash is the way to go, rather than regifting or giving something somebody doesn't really want. Money seen as the most practical alternative. All right, thinking about passing along that unwanted gift, today might be the perfect time. Stay tuned to see why.
And if you are looking to get into the holiday spirit, we have something special for you every day this week at 9:30 p.m. We're streaming parades around the Piedmont right here on WCNC Plus, and that's just the beginning. Throughout the rest of the year, you can catch all of our holiday events. We also just added a Yule log on demand. You can find it within the search tool, again here on WCNC Plus.
Welcome back, everyone. I always like to thank you. Thank you for joining us on WCNC Plus. And today is a day that separates itself from the rest. Not necessarily in a good way, but however you look at it, kind of good because we desperately need the rain. By the way, our drought monitors updated on Thursdays. Whatever rain we receive today is not going to impact that. So likely it's going to be heading in a drier direction, but any rain we see today will help the map for next week's update. Anyways, we'll close that page. We have a widespread rain chance today, tonight, and then it's done by tomorrow morning. And when I say widespread rain chance, I mean at one point, everyone's going to be seeing rain. I have a 100% chance it will rain at one point today. Some areas just seeing it a little bit longer. Right now, we're dealing with a little bit of light rain starting to work its way in south of Charlotte. This is barely hitting the ground. This is kind of that feeling like, okay, you can feel the moisture a little bit more. If you look at some of the street lights, you might see some of the mist starting to form as well over here in Chester County, over in Lancaster County. But it's this rain right here that'll continue to push its way further off towards the north. So if you live west of I-77, you actually have a better chance for rain this morning compared to areas further east, such as over in Anson County. But regardless, all of us are going to have a chance for at least some sort of rain each hour going forward, really starting about an hour from now. So from about 9 o'clock until midnight, that's where most of the rain is going to fall. That it's not often that you see a graph like this, that you have both time periods, today and tonight, at that it's going to rain criteria. That'll be about 100 to a 90% chance, or 100 to 90% of the area being covered in rain at one point. Then I still kept a little isolated rain chance around for your Friday. I think that's more so for the mountains, where you could see even a little bit of a changeover to wintry mix and then eventually a quick burst of snow. And it's only for a few hours tomorrow morning. And other than that, it's just going to be breezy. Check out our Dallas sky cam. This is also sometimes seeing is believing, picture worth 1,000 words. That's how today is going to look. 57 degrees for a high, and then temperature's really not moving too much. We're going to start to warm things up heading into the afternoon, especially compared to what we have right now, where temperatures are hovering right around the mid 40s or so, and then you can expect to be back to either side of 50 degrees heading into the early afternoon. But yeah, don't really expect a picture perfect pretty day. And also on the backside of this, we're going to see a significant change as far as our winds are concerned. So those winds are going to be gusty, and that's why we already have a wind advisory for Avery County. That's from 7 to 7 tomorrow, so 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And a high wind watch will likely be upgraded to a high wind warning for Watauga and for Ashe County. That's for wind gusts as high as 60 miles per hour when all is said and done. But I think the Charlotte area in general is dealing with what's called a moderate to a fresh breeze. There's actually wind ranges that mean certain things. This just means that small trees and branches are going to be swaying through much of the day, and then a strong wind up to 30 miles per hour is going to be possible on and off throughout the day. I'm going to end it right here. We have a 10-day forecast. This shows you when it feels like that. Realistically, we are still feeling December like over the next few days, but then we pop up into multiple November feeling days. Check this out. The 26th, the first day of Kwanzaa, Boxing Day, December 26th, whatever you want to call it, we're in the lower 70s. That's more like the middle of October. So rejoice, everyone. We have an early gift, a nice little warm-up for either side of Christmas Day. It's going to be nice. Let's see how traffic's looking. Whatever image Walker has right now does not look nice.
Yeah, it does not look good out there. 2 vehicles involved. This is the outbound lanes at Carmel Road at Crossgate Road. This is, again, for reference, just right before Quail Hollow. So, again, they are working on the scene of that, seeing some delays out there. Now, I have mentioned that we have continued to see delays in the town of Dallas from this accident. This is NC 279. Again, we've seen drivers moving slow from around 7 to 15 miles an hour. Currently right now moving at 12 miles an hour if you're headed into the town of Dallas. We have another accident. This is Sharon Amity Road. This is right at US 74 Independence Boulevard. Again, this was impacting all lanes. Again, we have not been able to see some recent images, but last update, all lanes were being impacted. We also do have a new accident that's just popped up as the last couple minutes. This is on I-77 northbound, obviously at exit 36. NC 150, which is a very busy section of Mooresville, currently under construction right now for a big bridge project. So definitely going to be seeing some delays out there. We all know on I-77 northbound in Mooresville just how congested things can get. So give yourself a little bit of extra time out there if you're headed northbound towards Mooresville.
It's that time of the morning. Time to check in with Ginger, our elf on the shelf. She's back today. And she's doing a little reading. She's hitting the books this morning.
Go, Ginge.
Chicka Chicka Ho Ho Ho. Always a popular favorite. as well as a few other books that she's enjoying. And you know what? She's been having a big time, kind of partying too hard the last few days. So I'm glad to see she's stopping and reading a little bit. Good for you, Ginge. And by the way, you're sending us your elves as well, and we love seeing them. You got the folks there on the left, 6, 7. I know. Everybody goes into a tizzy now. Fishing, TPing, the Christmas tree. You're going to get in trouble, guys. You're going to get in trouble. St. Nick's always watching. You guys, too. Keep those photos coming. We'd love to see what your elves are up to. 704-329-3600. If you're thinking about regifting this holiday season, today might be the perfect day to do it because it's National Re-Gifting Day, celebrated each year on the Thursday before Christmas. The day grew out of office parties and quirky gift exchanges.
Didn't know it had its own day. Surveys show that more people see regifting as a smart way to recycle, though experts say it's best to be thoughtful about what you pass along. Handmade items, books, plants, even duplicate kitchen gadgets can make great second chance gifts. And some families, regifting has even become a fun tradition that continues year after year. Have you guys ever regifted?
Many times. And I think we need to lift the veil of shame that comes along with it.
Agreed.
It's recycling.
Yes, it is. As long as it's a good, like don't give something that you know no one wants.
Well, maybe somebody else might want it. It's still recycling.
It's true.
I agree with the recycling.
Like, I don't know if I have many thoughts on this.
And we brought it up like consignment shops. Sometimes the best thing you do is getting those secondhand gifts. I've received some gift cards I'm never going to use. Keep it in that. And I was like, oh, here you go. You're going to love this.
Right.
You just can't use the stuff. Nobody wants your used stuff.
Yeah, we don't want.
But repurposing? Absolutely.
Sure.
I like that word, repurposing.
7:55 right now. Live pictures over Uptown, 49 degrees as you step out the door. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning. Today is a good day for the rain jacket. However, many of us are going to be waiting for it. Check out this camera showing actually a little bit of sunshine further off towards the east, but a lot of those clouds are going to fill in the gaps much of the day. Best chance for rain realistically is the middle of the afternoon and beyond heading through the evening, but we have some rain chances already starting to pop up, barely hitting the ground in parts of Chester and over to York County. This will eventually start to swing its way further off towards the north, so we can expect on and off rain through the morning, especially west of I-77. That rain really fills the gaps through the middle of the afternoon, on and off, heading through the overnight, and then by tomorrow morning around sunrise, we should be rain-free. Still a breezy Friday. Check it out. My warmest day of the weekend, 64 degrees, and before you know it, we're close to 70 degrees the day before Christmas. All right, all right. Let's check our morning commute with Walker Lawson. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. We're taking a live look at I-77 northbound. This is a pressure point for sure for drivers, especially for me when I'm headed home from work. And as you can expect, all lanes moving slow out there right now. Again, no accident, but just some slow delays. We do have a crash right now. This is an image from Carmel Road at Crossgate Road right before Quail Hollow. Again, 2 vehicles involved. It has closed that 1 lane down. Also another accident headed into Dallas.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington.
We continue to follow breaking news out of East Charlotte this morning. More than 24 people impacted by a 2-alarm fire at an apartment complex. These are live pictures right now from the scene. This is on Farm Pond Lane, just off of Albemarle Road. Several hours into the situation now at this point. We heard from one of the firefighters just about an hour and a half ago. Take a listen.
Upon arrival, Charlotte fire crews found fire through the roof of a 3-story apartment building. A second alarm was immediately struck. In total, approximately 60 firefighters on scene were able to bring the fire under control within 40 minutes. Occupants were self-evacuating, and Charlotte firefighters also removed numerous occupants from the building during the course of the fire. In total, there are 12 units that are affected. Approximately 24 people. The Red Cross has been called to assist the displaced. The Fire Investigation Task Force is on scene determining the cause of the fire. It is still under investigation. No injuries have been reported to any civilians or Charlotte Fire personnel.
Again, firefighters still working to figure out a cause to that fire. If you're flying for the holidays, Charlotte Douglas gearing up for the rush. Over the next 2 weeks, the airport expects about 2.7 million passengers. The busiest travel days will be tomorrow to the 19th and then again December 26th through the 28th. The airport urges you to arrive early, reserve parking ahead of time, and watch for extra staff. They'll be in yellow vests ready to help you when you need them. If you felt like your holiday flights were more expensive than normal, you are not imagining it. A new report shows passengers at Charlotte Douglas pay the highest nonstop domestic fares in the country.
And today, workers are rallying at the airport, calling on the city to be more transparent as it negotiates a new lease with American Airlines, which controls nearly all passenger traffic at Charlotte Douglas. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning at the airport, sharing what is inside this report. Destiny.
Yeah, airport workers and community allies plan to rally here this afternoon, and it's because of this report, which they say shows why for many passengers it may feel like flying out of Charlotte costs more. Now, according to this new report, Charlotte Douglas has had the most expensive nonstop domestic fares in the country over the past decade, with passengers paying about 33% more on average than at other major airports. That translates to about $120 more per round trip ticket, adding up to more than $5.5 billion extra dollars in extra costs, including $3 billion paid by Charlotte area travelers. Workers blame a lack of airline competition at CLT and say despite record traffic and profits, many airport workers are still not seeing those gains, pointing to a worker protection proposal that was blocked at City Council earlier this year.
Workers who are pushing disabled passengers often are not given sufficient paid time off for sick leave. How can you sanitize a plane while you yourself are sick?
Just after 12 today, workers will be here at the departures area of the airport, handing out flyers to holiday travelers to spread awareness, but also to call on the city for more transparency as they negotiate this new long-term lease with American Airlines. I'll send back to you guys live here from Charlotte Douglas.
You touched on it, but specifically, what are they really asking for from the city?
Yeah, they basically want it to be transparent about transparency about what's going to be in this lease agreement. They also want a 90-day public review period for people to see, how much of the airport profits are going to airlines. Currently, 40% of airport profits go to airlines for things that passengers spend money on, like concessions, kiosks, and parking. So they want this deal to be something that is a fair deal for passengers, workers, and the whole community.
All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us there at Charlotte Douglas. Destiny, thank you.
8:04 now. Help is on the way at North Carolina DMVs. Wednesday, nearly 150 people graduated from the Driver's License Examiner Basic School. The goal for these license examiners is to help to reduce those DMV wait times by being the first to verify personal information upon visits. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith tells us what this means for those here in the Charlotte area.
The work that you do is essential for North Carolina. You keep the traveling public safe. You get people back on the road. You connect folks to jobs and opportunities, to family and friends. And as a result, you keep our state moving forward.
These new additions come with the help of Governor Josh Stein, who signed House Bill 125 back in August, providing the funding to the DMV for the examiner positions.
We're able to serve about 8,000 people in person a day. So this is like adding a whole nother day to the calendar.
While Wednesday morning, 149 new examiners were celebrated, NCDOT Director of Communications Marty Homan says this has already begun improving drivers' DMV experience.
These folks will absolutely help increase the service levels, lower the wait times, and improve the customer service across the state.
So what exactly is a driver license examiner's role?
That is the employee that works inside of the driver license office. They're the ones that check your documentation when you come in. They're the ones that take you on your road test when you're coming to get your license. They'll get you your real ID. They're the ones behind the counter that are serving you.
Bria Smith with that report. The search for 33 more examiners begins in July. All right, let's check in with Chris now to get another update on our forecast, because you say at some point today, a lot of us will see some rain.
Right now is definitely the sweet spot as we look off towards the east, Lylesville. It's the eastern zones I think are going to be the driest for the first half of the day. And there's going to be a lot of us going to be like, where's the rain, Chris? Where is it? And it's going to be more so, I think, mid to late afternoon heading through the evening. It's this morning that it's going to be constant batches kind of spitting at us. Here's a testament. Over in Dallas, it's complete overcast sky, so a better chance for rain here. And then meanwhile, if you go up into the mountains, this is on top of Beach Mountain. Of course, there's snow here on the ground because they've been actively making some, and temperatures are near freezing and actually at freezing here on top of the mountains, but things are blowing around up here. So we have the head in the clouds there. Here's a good look at what's happening and what's coming. It's right around Georgia. We don't have much rain, so that is heading our way. But what's going to happen is we're going to add more moisture to this, another front that's nearby, a cold front to the northwest. Everything kind of squeezes in, and once everything gets a little bit closer together, that's going to maximize our rain. So this more widespread rain you're seeing down here off the Florida coast, over in the Gulf, or this more widespread rain that's over on the border of Mississippi and Alabama, that is what we can expect later on. So it's more so areas along I-77 and off towards the west could have some rain this morning, but most of us will see most of the rain throughout the day and the overnight. So let's get right to our futurecast. Right now we do have a little bit of light rain down towards the south. It's barely reaching the surface. So I think a lot of that's going to translate over to some mist, pockets of drizzle, some sprinkles, but then it starts to fill in the gaps, especially in the western side of the Carolinas by the latter part of this morning. There's a good chance that Charlotte, you don't really see a drop until this afternoon, especially say over around Mint Hill, Matthews, up into Concord. But then by the afternoon, watch, things start to fill in the gaps. And by the middle of the afternoon, you're seeing a lot more widespread rain. There'll still be some breaks here and there. This is not a washout type of scenario. We just have chances for rain each hour, because you saw how much coverage of rain is actually filling the southeast. It's really not until the late day that we really start to fill in the gaps. So your evening out forecast, anything you're doing, have the umbrella or have the rain jacket at least. And I think we're going to wind the rain down really once we get a little bit closer to midnight and beyond, and then by tomorrow morning, things are going to get a whole lot tamer. 55 degrees. That's going to be our low by tomorrow morning when the sun is rising up. Notice temperatures in the upper 50s, and then we warm back up slightly before we see a big cool down heading into your Friday evening. So the coldest part of the day is actually going to be Friday evening, so a little bit reverse than what we're used to. So over the next 36 hours, just anticipate that rain to push on in, and then by the weekend, we are looking at a much sunnier sky. So coming up, I'm going to go through a little more detail what you can expect this weekend and also closer to the Christmas holiday. We'll expand this out to 10 days, but the two things you need to know: we have two of the warmest days over the next 7 that we've had so far this December. Lower to the mid 60s, great for the Panthers game. Christmas Eve, last minute shopping, 68 degrees to near 70 degrees. That is amazing. All in all, not too bad. Let's see if we're saying the same thing about our morning commute. Well, Walker, how's it looking?
Well, good morning, Chris. Let's take a look at I-77 northbound right at exit 5. We are actually moving along. Just a couple seconds ago, right when I put this camera up, we were almost completely stopped, but we have seemed to open back up, which is some good news for people. I know that can be a frustrating point of traffic there. We do still have images of this crash at Carmel Road at Crossgate Road. It has not been cleared yet. 2 vehicles involved. That is outbound headed towards Quail Hollow. Now we also have an accident on I-77 northbound. This is at exit 36. So exit 36 actually has a lot of cones up right now due to a large bridge project that they're doing in this area. So this accident, of course, has happened right around that area. It is a difficult area to navigate right now as they're working on construction. So just being mindful to avoid this area right now if you can. We also have 2 accidents on McKee Road not too far away. Again, we'll continue to monitor those. Coming up next, Ben.
All right, Walker, thanks. As we had a break, here's an exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey, you know how we do it. Our team is always testing tons of products. We get rid of the rejects, only show you the best ones, and that's why I want to show you this thing today. It's the Tire Hero Portable Tire Inflator. Let me shut this off for a second. Literally true story, 2 weeks ago, I got stuck on the side of the road, glass in the tire. I barely made it to the gas station. Almost cost me hundreds of dollars to tow. So you need one of these anyway. The reason I think this is one of the best on the market is for this reason. Come on. Again, let me show you. So let's say you don't know the PSI of your car, you don't know what it's supposed to be, or if you want to inflate a ball, it does it for you. So you see the little car icon right there? You can flip through these. Okay, I want to do my car. No, I want to do my motorcycle, little motorcycle icon. I want to do my bicycle tire, or I want to do a soccer ball or an exercise ball. I just blew these up. The other cool thing about this is this. Come on and look at this. It's got the USB adapters here. It acts as a portable battery charger, so you can charge your tablet, you can charge your phone. It also comes with all these different nozzles for kind of anything you would have. It's small enough to literally, I mean, it's a pretty packed glove compartment, right? Look at that. It still fits. Nice and easy. Got a great deal for you on this today. And by the way, you want one of these anyway. You want this anyway because you can save $60 a year for properly inflated tires. So why wouldn't you? Get this one though, because I think it's the best on the market. $69.99 normally. Got a deal for you today. 20% off down to $55.99. Scan the QR code on the screen right now or go to shoptvdeals.com.
The time is now 8:14. Today, Mecklenburg County's newly formed Metropolitan Public Transportation Authority will meet for the first time. The 27-member board will pick which transit projects Charlotte should prioritize over the next 30 years.
This morning, we are joined by one of those new board members, Cameron Pruitt. Cameron, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Ben and Lisa. Good to be here.
I know you know this better than most. This has been a long time coming to get to this point. So let's manage expectations. What should people expect from this first inaugural meeting tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Today really is about electing those initial officers and starting the process, right? The first 7 steps of this are going to be boring legalese. We have to transfer CATS to a new authority. We have to go down the list. But a lot of the work in the next year is going to be hand in glove with the CATS and the new MPTA as we move forward on a lot of these projects and priorities.
Again, this is a 27-member board, so we're talking about some plans that are going to take decades to execute in the short term. I assume that this board is going to have priorities to get this new authority off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I think the good thing about 27 members is we have every skill, background, and experience we could possibly need at our hands, right? And so we bring in all those perspectives from across the county. And yes, we've got a lot to get off the ground in this first year. By July 1st, we need to have bylaws ready. We need to be ready to take over, to take care of staff, to make sure that we take care of bus operators and the light rail operators. So there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, a lot of it's boring stuff. But you know better than most because you are a rider of transit. That's actually one of the reasons why you were picked, because they wanted to make sure they had representation and it wasn't just engineers or business people. They wanted riders on this board, and you were one of the people that sort of serving that function. So when do you think your fellow riders are going to start to notice a bit of a difference that, hey, this is now being operated by a different authority?
Yeah, well, hopefully a lot of they won't see any change that's negative, right? I think in the short term, we want to continue to prioritize getting those new buses and building bus shelters. You know, listening to the forecast today, right? It's cold outside. The rain's a little unpredictable about where and when it's going to fall this morning. And there are places without a bus shelter, right? It's a stake in the ground with possibly no seating. So I hope folks see continued expansion of bus shelters in the very short term and the near term, and then also an improvement in their bus service. I think that could happen within a year. We're already talking to CATS about what their next operating budget looks like even before the authority takes over. So hopefully folks see improvements by the end of next year in bus service. Rail's going to take a lot longer.
This is going to be a huge undertaking. We're talking about things for the next 30 years. And I know that while we have to manage expectations, how do you think you make sure that this authority is successful? How do you measure that?
Yeah, absolutely, right? I think as we elect officers tonight, right, who the chair is going to be, I think we're successful if we've done our work with the community, right? Not just managing expectations, but being responsive. That folks who both supported and opposed this referendum are heard, and every step of the way that we're actually doing the communication and outreach, that we've involved people so that you feel great about the system, that when that first light rail station opens, that everybody knows that they were involved in that process, that when businesses and homes have to move, that people feel supported and have the resources they need. So I'll judge success by how the community feels, by how the user experience is, how the voters and taxpayers feel about it.
This is a bit of insider baseball, but I'm just curious, what happens to CATS in all of this? At some point, will it dissolve, or do you know?
So that's an open question. In the short term, right, I think CATS is going to continue to operate as it is. We'll have a lot of use agreements most likely. Again, we want to make sure that all the current staff members, our goal is to do no harm, to maintain where they're at right now. And so a lot of that will look the same, right? But in the long term, there may be larger shifts. But within the next year or two, you'll still call it CATS, I bet.
And what about you guys? Are you guys going to be, as a person who has to read this every single day, are you guys going to be MPTA? Is that the new, or is there going to be a snazzier name than that?
You know, that's up to us in our bylaws by July 1st, right? But again, for the next month at least, you'll still say MPTA.
Okay.
All right. Well, that is good to know. Cameron, one more question for you real quick. I love your enthusiasm about being on this. Tell me what you're most excited about. Again, we know those first few months are really going to be, as you said, legalese, kind of boring. Yep. What are you most looking forward to being a part of this?
You know, what's been most exciting for me is that everyone I've talked to shares these goals and priorities, right? That it cuts through a lot of the rhetoric and noise that we hear around our political lives so much. What makes me excited is everyone here, from the CAT staff to the other folks on MPTA, to the folks that made this all possible, we all want better service, right? We want better buses, we want better congestion, we want safer roads, and we want an expanded light rail. And so what makes me excited is that there's a lot of possibility if we get this right and do this correctly, and that everyone's united around that goal. So I'm excited that we can improve people's lives in a way that doesn't involve all the noise and rhetoric.
Yeah, so today really is the first step for the rest of transit's future here in Charlotte. So excited about that. Cameron, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you all. Have a great morning.
You as well. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more here, streaming live on WCNC Plus.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on WCNC Plus. So I want to get right to this. So I have some brand new updated model data that came down. Being honest with you, some of our go-to models have been really finicky about filtering in data. So I've really only been showing you up until the late afternoon, because then after that, the data disappears. So that's why I've been saying widespread after that, and then it dies out. But now we actually have full runs, so almost took the entirety of the morning, but we got it. So let's bring this up until about noon, because at that point, I think any rain that we see could be a quick passing shower around Charlotte, but we have the most widespread rain really along the 321 corridor and areas further off towards the west. By the middle of the afternoon, that's where Charlotte is greeted with more on and off rain showers. It will be heavy at times, but then watch by the end of the afternoon. It is completely widespread, and at this point, you're still in the heaviest rain that we've seen, at least along the I-77 corridor and areas further off towards the east. And it's not until the late evening that we eventually start to wind things down. I think the heaviest rain is done by about 8 to 9 o'clock. Lingering showers possible on the back end. And then here's the actual cold front. That's what's going to be changing our winds up. That'll give one last hurrah for some showers before the sun rises up, and then even a chance for a little bit of snow up in the high country. We'll roll through this a little bit slower, showing you all the details coming up at the next few minutes after the 8:30 half hour. But first, let's see how our commute is faring with Walker Lawson.
Yes, good morning, Chris. Well, we are seeing multiple accidents actually out on McKee Road this morning, so best bet is to currently just avoid this area. The first crash is at Davis Drive on McKee Road. The second one is then at Weddington Road this morning. We also have another accident not too far away. This is Ray Road, a crash at Williams Pond Lane. Again, we also have an accident at Albemarle Road at Regal Oaks Drive this morning. And again, still have that crash that is blocking outbound lanes near Quail Hollow on Carmel Road at Crossgate Road.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. It's Thursday and time for On This Day in History, kind of a monumental moment. It was December 18th, 1966, the original TV version of this famous book that came out back in 1957, How the Grinch Stole Christmas from Dr. Seuss. It was on TV. In fact, this is a TV ad from back in 1966 from a newspaper, by the way, that was narrated by the famous Boris Karloff. What a monumental day in history, 1966. And there it is. That's a clip from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You may remember this scene right here. A famous day in history. It was the 18th, 1966, 18th day of December. How the Grinch Stole Christmas on this day in history. It's the TV version, and I'm Larry Sprinkle.
We know it well. Thanks so much, Larry. 8:25 now. We're going to take a quick break. We'll make sure that you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. You can see 49 degrees right now. Remember, if you're heading out, make sure you grab an umbrella.
Welcome to your day. Not a good looking one, right? Well, we have some lower visibility, some of those low level clouds, even a little bit of light rain now starting to push in. Here's the deal with today. We're going to see, I think, most mist, barely any rain for the morning, but it's more so in the afternoon. We filter a lot more in, 49 degrees on an overcast sky. Here's some of that lighter rain that I'm talking about. The more west you go, the more rain that we're going to see, and then we'll start to fill in the gaps. So here's what it looks like for our futurecast. Seeing rain expand mainly along the I-77 corridor and areas west through the morning. Once you get to the afternoon, especially mid to late afternoon, we really fill in the gaps, and I think the heaviest rain we see is in the middle of the afternoon to the middle of the evening. So really from about 3 to 9 o'clock, then things start to simmer down overnight tonight. Now, our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast has us in the upper 50s over the next 3 days. Windy by tomorrow. 60s for Sunday, even warmer around Christmas Eve. Walker, take it away.
Yeah, we're going to start off with a live look at I-77 up in Mooresville. As we had mentioned, there was an accident there earlier that's since cleared, but we're seeing the interstate moving smooth out there right now. Again, we are seeing, of course, our regular pressure points, starting to see some delays out there. I-77 north and southbound, just south of the city, slowing down, seeing stop and go traffic. Same on I-485.
You are streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30 on this Thursday. Thanks so much. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We continue to follow breaking news out of East Charlotte this morning. More than 24 people impacted by a two-alarm fire at an apartment complex on Farm Pond Lane. That's right off Albemarle Road. Here's the latest from the fire department there, one of the battalion chiefs.
Upon arrival, Charlotte fire crews found fire through the roof of a 3-story apartment building. A second alarm was immediately struck. In total, approximately 60 firefighters on scene were able to bring the fire under control within 40 minutes. Occupants were self-evacuating, and Charlotte firefighters also removed numerous occupants from the building during the course of the fire. In total, there are 12 units that are affected, approximately 24 people. The Red Cross has been called to assist the displaced. The Fire Investigation Task Force is on scene determining the cause of the fire. It is still under investigation. No injuries have been reported to any civilians or Charlotte Fire personnel.
Right now, firefighters are still working on the cause of that fire.
This morning, a former school resource officer charged with sexual exploitation of a minor is set to face a judge in Rowan County. 35-year-old Austin Moore previously worked as a school resource officer at North Rowan Elementary School. He is now charged with 4 counts of third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. The Rowan County Sheriff's Office says a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children led investigators to search Moore's school office, his home, and electronic devices. Now, parents angered by the situation are speaking out.
For any adult to be doing that, especially when we put our trust into school administrations, resource officers at school, that's supposed to be someone that the kids can go to and be comfortable with talking to.
School leaders say investigators found no evidence that any student in the district was a victim. Moore is being held in the Rowan County Jail. He has a $100,000 bond.
A man is behind bars this morning after a major drug bust in Cleveland County. Police say Felix Tirado is facing 2 counts of trafficking meth. During a traffic stop, officers say they discovered more than 130 pounds of drugs inside his vehicle. The sheriff posting this photo you see here on Facebook saying they'll continue to target drug trafficking. Tirado is now being held without bond at the county jail. Detectives need your help in a car break-in and credit card fraud case. Take a look at your screen. Investigators say these suspects broke into 2 unlocked cars on Saturday at the Watergate Townhomes. That's in Fort Mill. The suspects stole credit cards, a laptop, book bag, and then used those credit cards at a smoke shop on South Tryon Street. If you recognize the men, call the York County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Now to a health alert. North Carolina health officials confirming the first pediatric flu-related death of the season. Officials say a child in western North Carolina died from complications. Right now, doctors warn flu activity is rising as holiday travel begins. They're urging families to get vaccinated and get care early if those symptoms start.
While the holidays can bring on cheer, maybe even stress for some, others are dealing with the holiday blues.
Megan Bragg shares the everyday impact speaking and interacting with family and friends can have on your overall mood.
The cloudy weather, the holiday stress, and being alone can get you down this time of year.
Because the holidays are generally supposed to be a time of togetherness, we can feel that lack of connection more during the holidays.
According to a study published in the National Library of Medicine, it shows people's moods may get worse and alcohol-related fatalities like alcohol poisoning increase during the holiday season. Dr. Dawn Potter, a psychologist with the Cleveland Clinic, says if you're feeling the holiday blues, reach out to a friend or family member you've been meaning to connect with. She says look for ways to socialize and keep with activities you enjoy. Dr. Potter says the winter blues are usually temporary, but it's important to recognize signs that it may be more than just that.
If you are feeling down, depressed, or hopeless more days than not, if you are feeling a loss of interest or pleasure in doing things more days than not.
Dr. Potter says if that's the case, reach out to a mental health professional for help. Megan Bragg, WCNC Charlotte.
Thanks a lot, Megan, and I'm happy to say that Christmas is going to be a super warm one. Now, that might not interest a lot of people. Some people like it to be a little bit on the cooler side, cold enough to roast chestnuts on an open fire. Well, you could do that. It's just not going to be very comfortable. You have overcast skies, and that's pretty much what we're dealing with. On and off fog, some mist, drizzle, light rain, will pulse through the morning into the early afternoon. It's by the mid to late afternoon to the evening that we're seeing most of the rain today. So 49 degrees is where our temperature's at right now. Pretty calm wind. Really doesn't get windy until tonight and tomorrow, and we're even talking about wind advisories and high wind warnings for the mountains. But that rain is starting to fill in the gaps. I've been saying this all morning. If you live west of I-77, anticipate more rain, because look what's filling in the gaps right here around Union, South Carolina. Not talking about Union County, North Carolina. That's where we're seeing more rain, becoming more prevalent here in York County. It's really along the 321 corridor in areas west that we're seeing more widespread rain. They'll fill in the gaps for this morning, and then it starts to work its way further east, and then pretty much everyone's seeing rain by the closure of the day. The reason why we're waiting on more rain later on is because we have one little avenue of rain right here that's starting to fill in the gaps, and then this one right here that's along the Georgia to Alabama to over to Mississippi. It's all that rain that squeezes in later on this afternoon, this evening, and overnight before finally a cold front's going to pass us. So here it is, our futurecast. Going to spend all the time here to start off this half hour. This is where you're expecting that rain right along the 321 corridor, as I mentioned, but still, even though you're not seeing active green, that doesn't mean you're going to be dry. I don't really have any dry periods 100%. Unless you're talking about Rockingham, I think you have a better chance of staying dry for at least the first half of the day. But most of us along the I-77 corridor, including Concord, Kannapolis, up to Salisbury, you will still have a chance for some fog, some mist, and drizzle, really especially after 10 o'clock today. But this area of rain that I was mentioning by about 3 really starting to take over the 485 corridor, and then watch by about 5 o'clock. Widespread rain. It is not a great evening commute. The evening commute is much worse than what we have this morning, and Walker will be a testament to that, because so far we haven't really had a super busy one comparatively. But at this point, you're looking at heavy rain. It's also been very dry recently, so that means any of the oils on the roads will come to the surface. That makes it even slicker, and will be even torrential rain at times. And dare I say, an outside chance for even a rumble of thunder. Not really a big thunderstorm forecast, but I am going to throw that in there. I don't want people to get caught off guard. Once you get to about the middle part of the evening, we're transitioning everything over from the heavy status to light to moderate steady rain. Still kind of a nuisance, not great to be out in, because temperatures are still in the 50s. It's still a cold rain. By the early morning hours, we're seeing the final passage. This is the actual cold front. This is the one that could also bring some thunder, especially further off towards the west, but this line is fading out, and then rain turns into more of a wintry mix, and the actual front will provide a little bit of snow up here in the high country. I'm talking about really from about 7 till 10, we could have some flurries flying, a little bit of light dusting of snow. Flurries could last as late as noon, and then after that, we're dry for several days. As far as the winds go, they pick up through the overnight as that front squeezes in. That means we could have gusts as high as 30 miles per hour through the overnight hours. So before the kids even get to the bus stop, the winds are gusting up to 30 miles per hour, up to about 40 to 50 up in the mountains. And then we have a wind advisory and even a high wind warning that will be activated for the mountains with gusts up to 50 to even 60 miles per hour. So a really windy day overall. So our 7-day forecast, and I'm going to spend more time on the long range showing you the Christmas holiday coming up. Our beautiful Sunday is perfect for the Panthers game. Lower to the mid 60s, mix of clouds and sunshine. A dry front will kick us down to freezing and around 50 on Monday. And then after that, say what? Right around 70 degrees for Christmas Eve, mid to the upper 60s for Christmas Day. And as we've been talking about, the 26th, the day after Christmas, the lower 70s. Boom, boom, boom. All right, Walker, what's going on?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned just a moment ago, we're actually not doing too bad out there again, but as we track that potential for rain later today, again, the evening commute is going to be rough. As of right now, your morning commute right now, looking at I-77 south at mile marker 6. This is always kind of a pressure point for drivers. We're moving smooth out there this morning. Now, again, road conditions, seeing some stop and go as we just showed on I-77 headed northbound, though, opposite direction, a little bit slower. Now, we do have an accident still here on McKee Road. There was 2 accidents. That first one is cleared up. This second one is a crash at Weddington Road that is still being worked on right now. Again, we also have another accident at Ray Road at Williams Pond Lane. We have a third accident out there. This is Albemarle Road at Regal Oaks Drive again. So your drive times out there this morning, Matthews to Charlotte, it'll take you 25 minutes to move in at 30 miles per hour. Waxhaw to Charlotte, 39 minutes. We're going 28 miles an hour.
Walker, thanks. The latest jobs report is out. It shows signs the labor market is cooling. We're going to break down what that could mean for hiring in the months ahead. 8:42, and right now we're following some breaking news in Charlotte. Medic now saying one person was hurt in the shooting on Keswick Avenue. That's near Uptown. It's actually across from Camp North End. We know that victim was taken to the hospital, though it's not clear what led up to that shooting. When we get more information, of course, we'll pass that along to you.
The latest jobs report released Tuesday, and it shows the labor market is cooling. Jen Sullivan explains what this all could mean for hiring.
If you're looking for a new job, you may have a harder time getting hired right now than in recent years.
Jobs creation has really slowed to a virtual crawl.
Bankrate economic analyst Mark Hamrick says the current labor market is troubling. The latest jobs report released Tuesday by the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows only 64,000 jobs were added in November, and unemployment rose to 4.6%, the highest it's been in 4 years.
And that results in less job security.
With 1 month left to go, the U.S. labor market is on pace for its weakest year of job creation since the job losses of 2020, and before that, the Great Recession. And it comes at a time when many Americans are already anxious about affordability.
Essentially, we have two sides of a double-edged knife, which are cutting into Americans, not only their confidence, but their lived experiences with their personal finances.
Some economists, like Justin Wolvers, warns the job market is unlikely to get better anytime soon.
The next batch of kids who graduate are going to find it a lot harder to find work, that the folks who are in jobs that they don't really like right now are finding it harder to switch.
There is some good news for some job sectors. Thousands of healthcare jobs were added last month, as well as construction jobs. But other industries like manufacturing and transportation were hit hard with losses. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Hiring might be slowing down, but AI definitely isn't. And many workers fear that artificial intelligence could take their jobs. But new research from Vanguard shows the opposite's actually happening, at least for now. Jobs most exposed to AI automation have actually grown faster than other occupations. While some companies are cutting entry-level positions or using AI to boost efficiency, the technology isn't quite advanced enough yet to cause widespread job losses. In fact, employment in the high-risk occupations has increased slightly over the last 2 years. By contrast, job growth in other fields has slowed.
President Trump addressed the nation last night, touting what he considers accomplishments this year. He repeatedly blamed his predecessor and Democrats for the country's woes, despite Republicans controlling the government. The president also addressed affordability concerns by claiming prices were down.
Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22% and in many states 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%, airfares rose 31%. Now, under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too.
Consumer price index reports have shown a recent increase. The president also spoke about health care, as average Obamacare premiums are set to more than double with the expiration of those subsidies. He reiterated the idea of the GOP health care bill that does not extend the related subsidies.
All right, folks, check your medicine cabinets. The FDA expanded its nationwide recall of Reboost nasal spray to include Clear Life allergy nasal spray. Officials say the products made by MediNatura, New Mexico, contain yeast, mold, and microbial contamination above safe levels. They were sold in 20 milliliter bottles with expiration dates through December of this year, both in stores and online. So far, no illnesses have been reported, but customers are urged to stop using the sprays and return them for a refund. Publix recalling a single lot of its maple walnut coffee cake after a labeling mix-up. Some packages were mistakenly labeled as raspberry coffee cake, even though the product clearly contained walnuts. The FDA says the risk is for people with walnut allergies, though no illnesses have been reported. The recalled cakes were shipped to Publix stores in 8 states, including the Carolinas. Customers urged to return the mislabeled cakes for a refund.
On this day in 1892, a new ballet premiered in Russia. Once met with mixed reviews, it has become one of the world's most cherished holiday traditions. Find out next.
And as we head a break, hey folks, if you're still not in the holiday spirit, that's okay. We've got you covered. Every day this week, starting at 9:30 p.m., we're going to be streaming Christmas parades from around the Piedmont here on WCNC+. And that's just the beginning. Through the rest of the year, you can catch all of our holiday events anytime you want, including the Yule log on demand. Only right here on WCNC Plus.
Welcome back, welcome back. Weather impacts today. You just got to know that rain is rolling in before you know it. And throughout the course of this morning, it's mainly going to be overcast. Could have a few spits of mist and drizzle. And then once you get to the afternoon, temperature is barely warming up. We're right around 50 degrees now. We're pretty much going to stay there for the course of this morning. Heading into the afternoon, still staying overcast, but it's more so during the afternoon hours and the evening hours that we're going to see most of the rain today. I'm not discounting this morning. It's just not nearly as widespread. So we're going to reach an afternoon high right around the mid-50s, only in the upper 40s for the mountains and the foothills, and then we're going to see temperatures really start to hit their stride, I would say, by the end of the day. So it means whatever we peak in the afternoon, we could also do a little bit later on in the evening, and then through the early morning hours, we're winding things down. Or by about 7 o'clock, I think we're clear. We're even starting to see the sunshine right around the 7:27 sunrise time. But notice the temperature up in Boone, 36 degrees. There will be a chance for a little bit of snow up in the high country. Now, tomorrow's forecast is interesting. We start off in the upper 50s. We fall down to the mid 50s, to the upper 50s, and then by 7 o'clock, we're down to the 40s and even the 30s by the end of the evening. So you have any evening plans for your Friday, it gets downright chilly compared to where we have been. So plan accordingly, dress accordingly. That's going to start off your Saturday right around the freezing point into the upper 50s. And then Sunday, I'll be calling my pick of the week from Monday to Sunday. Temperatures in the lower to the mid 60s, so great for the Panthers game. Speaking of, this is my first Panthers forecast I have for you in detail. Well, I think right around 1 o'clock, we have 60 degrees. Notice that I know it feels like, even though we will have a slight breeze, there's not as much of a wind chill factor once we're up to this point. Yeah, it can make you feel cooler, but nothing compared to like being in the 40s and 30s. Reaching the lower to the mid 60s right around the middle of the game. Let's call it the third quarter. And by the end of it, we're celebrating that W. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 50s. So this is a great looking forecast there. But I'm going to jump ahead. We'll see a little bit of a cool down heading into Monday, but for Christmas Eve next Wednesday and next Thursday, can you believe it? Now we're on that week countdown for the holiday. Near 70 degrees for Christmas Eve, 66 for Christmas Day, and even the day afterwards could be right around 70 degrees. So that's 3 straight days, either side of 70 degrees. If you were dreaming of a warm Christmas, this is just for you. Not everyone was doing that though, Walker, right?
No, absolutely not. But thank you for the excitement that we get to deal with. Let's take a look right now, though, at our current accident that has happened. This is a crash right here at Providence Road at the I-485 outer ramp. This arrow pointing to a vehicle right behind this school bus right here. So this is a crash that's just happened not too long ago. On our map, this is exactly where it is. Providence Road right near I-45. Not seeing any major delays out there, thankfully. We do have this accident that's still in play here on Ray Road. It's right at Williams Pond Lane. We've been monitoring it for about an hour or two now. So it looks like they are working to get that cleared up now. As for your commute time, most of us are doing well, but if you are taking I-485 and you're headed towards Matthews, we're moving at around 8 miles an hour, moving 13 miles an hour if you're headed up I-77 north towards Charlotte. As we mentioned, your drive times right now, Matthews to Charlotte, 24 minutes. We're going 32 miles per hour. We are moving smooth in Salisbury, obviously a longer commute, 51 minutes, but moving 55 miles an hour. And Belmont to Charlotte, it'll take you 24 minutes.
Walker, thanks so much. Great to have you with us this morning. All right, take a look at who else is with us this morning. She's here. We're talking about Ginger the elf, and Ginger's actually doing a good thing today. She's sitting, being calm, and she's doing some reading, catching up, we suppose. Of course, she joins us every morning leading up to Christmas. And check this out. We have received more pictures of some of Ginger's friends. You see what they've been getting into. I'm not saying the number on the first picture, but you see it there, all the things. And again, friends just getting into a little mischief this holiday season. If you haven't already and you'd like to, please send us a picture of your elf on the shelf. We'd love to see what they're up to. It's very simple. All you have to do is text us 704-329-3600.
All right, 8:53 right now on WCNC Plus. On this day in history, 133 years ago to be exact, the Nutcracker premiered at the Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg, Russia.
Now, at first, the reviews were, let's just say, lukewarm, with critics calling the ballet confusing and uneven. But over time, the Nutcracker grew into one of the most beloved holiday traditions, especially in the United States. Today, it's performed by ballet companies around the world every December, enchanting audiences with its magical story and the timeless score, of course. By the way, and then FYI, the Charlotte Ballet is currently showing the Nutcracker, which they're performing the Nutcracker, not showing it. Every day until Sunday, tickets are still available for purchase online. I love the Nutcracker.
Should we all go?
I think we should all go.
Let's do it.
Group effort Sunday.
I do have a bit of a hot take on any Nutcracker that I've seen, and I've seen several of them over the years.
Okay, come on.
Got to get through that first half because that first half.
If you've not seen it
The
before
party scene,
and you don't know.
once like everybody starts coming out, it's good, it's entertaining.
Yes.
You're like, wow, they're amazing. That's a great dancer. I mean, it's
Right.
that first half.
From a party to a rat king, like you gotta know kind of.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of it.
But it's great. It's good.
What
It
I
is
didn't
good.
realize is how many iconic songs are really in the Nutcracker.
Oh.
Kim was putting it on. I was like, oh, that one's that. Oh, that's
You
from
know
That's
that?
from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know. I actually watched it for the first time. I didn't realize Macaulay Culkin was in the movie version. So I'm a noob as far as the Nutcracker.
Watch
All right.
the movie version or
I didn't know there was one. How about that?
It was great though.
the more you know.
That's what we're here for.
All right, folks, live pictures right now inside our live Impact studio, a few hundred feet from where we're currently sitting, in case you were wondering.
I was.
Jane, she's standing by. She's going to be speaking to Senator Ted Budd this morning about health care, the Lumbee Tribe, and a lot more. That's coming your way in just a few minutes right here on WCNC Plus.
starting to see some active rain push into the area. Welcome to the first batch. It's going to be constant rounds, and it looks like this through much of the day. So a little bit of that green translating to some very light rain showers in the upper 40s. And then for the afternoon, we're in the lower to the mid 50s with rain getting much more intense a little bit later on. So here's the rain right now. It's going to be really from around the Charlotte area west that we're going to see most of the rain to start off. But then watch what happens here on our futurecast. As we continue hour by hour throughout the day, by the middle of the afternoon, rain is a lot more widespread and even heavier. There's even a chance for a rumble of thunder for today, tonight, and then eventually through the overnight, this rain is going to die out. Even a chance for a little bit of snow up in the mountains. That's going to create a windy Friday, by the way. Winds will really start to tumble by your Friday evening. That starts off at freezing on Saturday. The 60s for a great Panthers game on Sunday. Near 70 for Christmas Eve. Walker, what do you need to know about your morning commute?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look out there. So we have a crash right now at Providence Road. This is at I-485 outer ramp. This is involving looks like a school bus and a car. So again, taking a look at your Providence Road delays right now. Not really seeing any delays due to this accident, just some slowdowns, but nothing major for your commute. We are clearing out at Ray Road, though that crash has since been cleared.